Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Elevate interview here with my man, Alex Braun. Often refer to this guy as the Energizer Bunny inside of Elevate because he just never seems to run out of energy, hype, enthusiasm. He's constantly just encouraging other people, spreading the light. God has definitely given this guy a gift to just spread light to everyone, and he's done that in my life. So I'm excited to record this interview and spread his light with everyone else. But Alex, what's going on, bro?
Dude, I'm excited to be here, excited to share my testimony and story about Elevate. It's really impacting my life in great fashion, so I'm excited for this.
Yeah, appreciate you being here, bro. Means a ton, man. Because like we were just talking about before we jumped in and pressed record, you've been in Elevate for a long time now, and that in itself, is a testimony to the community and what we're building here. I'd say,
Mhm.
but obviously, there's so much to unpack. How long have you actually been in? Do you know?
I think it's been about a year and a half, somewhere around there.
Whew, that's
Yep.
crazy. So you're pretty early. Take us back to like when you first joined. What was one? This is a two-parter.
Okay.
First, like what was your life like at the time, and
Mhm.
then two, like like that made you feel like you needed something like Elevate, and then two, like what was your experience? Going from that, saying okay, I need something like Elevate, and then joining up.
Yeah. When I first joined, I was 18 years old. I was a freshman at a community college near me, and I was just still trying to find my way. I felt like I didn't fit into the party scene. I was still just kind of figuring out where I wanted to go in life. I mean, recently, during that time, got out of a breakup, so I was just trying to find what my identity was and what I was trying to do. And
Mm,
I started to connect with guys over Twitter. You were, I think, the first ever person to like comment on one of my posts on Twitter, and
let's
then we
go.
developed a relationship from there. And then you're talking about how you, like, I just started the community. I think you'd be a great part of it. And then I was like, yeah, like sounds good. Never did anything about it. I was like, it's just another guy online trying to get me to buy their stuff, right?
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so I finding it, and then like I think you asked me like one more time, and you're like, dude, like what are you waiting for? And I was like, you're right. I was like, what am I waiting for, right? So eventually joined, and I remember in the welcome channel, you said like my guy Braun finally is in there, and then J.R. Smith, he was like,
What a legend.
finally this dude joined. It's been about time. So like I felt welcomed in like as soon as I got in there. And the reason I ended up making the decision was because I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go. I knew a lot of guys, part of the community, including yourself, were doing the things that I wanted to do and were all about what I was about. And I was like, I need to be surrounded by the people that are gonna help me get to where I want to go.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I think there's a lot of relatability, amongst our stories. At least when we first connected, you were kind of telling me like, dude, I'm feeling lost, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
feeling lost, and I can relate to that. As you know, like when I graduated high school, COVID had canceled my senior year of high school. College baseball was supposed to be everything, but that
Mm-hmm.
was quickly, removed from my life due to that scamdemic. Uh, but and then I chose not to go to college, which is a tough decision. It's a tough decision when you got friends going to college. Basically, everyone in your class is going off to college to do something. Everyone seems to kind of have it together, right? Like they're like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor, or I'm going to be a lawyer, or I'm going to go be a PT. I feel like everybody's wanting to be a PT these days, which
Yeah.
no shame at anybody wanting to be a PT. It's a sick profession, helps people, but it seems like everybody's kind of got their career picked out. They're committing to their school, and I was just over here like, I don't know if that's for me, man. And then when we connect, obviously I'd already had Elevate rolling and never ended up going to college, but you were like, yeah, I'm in school, but I don't really know if this is for me. Sound like you had just really gotten pressured from your environment to
Yep.
just have to be in college, and you didn't really want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how that conversation went, but for the people, like, talk to us about that moment of just feeling lost in college, not necessarily feeling like where you're supposed to be, and then how that conversation went for us.
Yeah. it's such a good story too. Um, I finished my first year, my freshman year of college, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to school just like I always have. I'm doing exactly what my parents want me to do, right? Like I'm making them proud. Like, but deep down, I was like, this is not what I want to be doing. I was like, I like to think big picture a lot. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to school for 4 years, and then I'm gonna get a job, work 9 to 5 that I don't even like to do, and then I'm gonna keep working until I'm 65 and retire.
Mm.
And I'm like, I do not want to do that. That does not sound like what I want to do at all. But when you have no other vision, you just do what you're told. You just follow it. And
Yeah.
then when I joined like this community and I saw people on Twitter like living different lives, it kind of opened up a whole new experience for me. And then I started hopping on calls, and we hopped on multiple calls. And I was like, Matt, like I'm thinking about dropping out and focusing on this. And he's like, dude, you should have dropped out yesterday. Yeah. I was like, really? He was like, yeah. And I was like, well, like my parents think this. He's like, yeah, that's great and all, but like you got to do what you got to do. Like you have God's vision, and if you follow God's path, like it's gonna work out. And I was like, damn. I was like, you're right. Next day, out of college. Next day.
Man, boom.
Next day. Next day.
Yeah, bro. I remember you coming back, over the top of that conversation, like, hey, bro, I dropped out. And man, at one point in my life, probably around that season, I was like making it my life's mission to get as many people to drop out as
No,
possible.
seriously, like me, paid it. Like,
Yeah. I had a couple hometown friends too that I talked into dropping out. Their parents didn't really like me after that, but it is what it is. But I think something you touched on there is so important to highlight for anyone listening to this. It's just like people will shatter your limiting beliefs when you encounter someone who is very similar to you, who, you and I, we have very similar upbringings. Like I grew up in a small town, Indiana. You grew
Yep.
up, I don't know if you're kind of around the Dayton
Small
area. I
town
don't know.
Ohio. Yep.
Small town Ohio. So small town Midwest, we were probably 4 hours from each other our entire upbringing.
Which is
And
insane.
when you connect with this community, it's like, oh my God, like I don't have to go this path. There is other options to live a life of fulfillment and take up, carry my cross in this lifetime. And, before we jump on, you're like, dude, life's the best it's ever been. Like you're taking action, you're taking leaps left and right. And I think that when you break that ice and take that first leap, and for you, that first leap was probably dropping out.
For sure.
It's like leaps just start getting bigger, but they start getting easier. Because you just start defying, what this world is trying to get you to do, and start walking your own path. And I mean, that's what we're all about here at Elevate when you have guys doing that left and right. But so I just want to say I'm proud of you, bro, for taking that leap, dropping out. If anybody's listening to this and they're in college, let Alex be the case study. Get out of there. Get out of there.
Yeah. And during that time, everyone around me is just like calling me stupid, a loser. Like, what are you doing? Like, everyone's harping on you because like it's so ingrained in everyone's like, you go to college, you get a job. Like that's just what is society. That's what's destined for you when you're born. And then, when I made that decision, it helped having like people like you to support me through that. Having like a lot of people in that community support me through that because I didn't have that in my real life relationships. Like they just didn't understand at all. And like these people love and care for me and they want to see me succeed, but they just didn't understand the vision at the time. And it was a really crucial part to have this community to lean on and to talk to during that time.
Yeah. That's such a vital piece of what you're saying, though. Is like they still love you, they still support you, and they want what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just their genuine, limited perspective believes that college is the best path. Like that was the same thing I experienced with the people around me. Like it wasn't anything against Matt Moore. It was just like, I want what's best for you. And I think college and a safe, secure job, making your 6-figure salary is the best thing you can do for your life.
Mm-hmm.
And for the average person, yeah. But, we just aren't the average person. We are a community of dudes who are wanting to do it at the highest level. So, but yeah, I mean, it's huge, bro. So again, proud of you for doing that, man. Proud of you for getting around, people who are taking life at this level. And I think it goes back to also like, they always say like you are the sum of the five people,
Mm-hmm.
around you. And I think that that's all because life gets normalized at that point. And you've
Yes.
probably experienced this, and I'll let you speak to it. But it's like once a healthy lifestyle gets normalized around you with those five people, it's like it's normal in your life. Once entrepreneurship is all you see because all your friends are entrepreneurs, it's like it's just normal to be an entrepreneur. So it's like surrounding yourself with these people is simply just to raise the baseline bar. But I'd love to hear your perspective of just how that's happened in your life.
Yeah, it's joining Elevate was like the first time I was around a community of like people that like doing the things that I wanted to do. It was just like all I knew was like school, hang out with friends, like that's it. It's like no, these people are not doing what I want to do, so I need to start getting included with people who are doing what I want to do. And Elevate was one of the first steps towards that. And now it made me realize how important it was to have those people. And now it's influenced my real life. I was telling Matt before this, it's like I'm now included in so many different groups in my real life, but I would have not recognized how important community is if it wasn't for Elevate. It's like now I'm a part of, I had this worship night on Monday, a young adults on Tuesday, like a Bible study went. Like I'm trying to be involved in so many communities of the people who are doing the things I want to do and what I'm about, because then, like you just said, it's normalized.
Yeah.
And then now that when I hop on a conversation with people that are not a part of that community, and it's like, what are you doing? It's like what are you? It's like obviously like there's relatability. You're not gonna like be mean or look at them down anyway, but it's just like it's kind of crazy that once you're inside of that community and there's like like-minded people, everything else it seems like crazy to you.
Yeah. I think another thing too is when you're trying to take these leaps that we're talking about, dropping out of college, starting a business, like doing these things that are against the grain, that are not normal. What
Mm-hmm.
happens when you have community around you who is also doing it is it gives you a lot more conviction and confidence in the identity that you're building. So, when you go talk to your parents, like, hey, I'm dropping out of college, it's not like you're alone in doing this. You're not the crazy one. Because, oftentimes when you're in an environment of people who are all going to college, and I know we keep coming back to college, but this is applicable to anything in life. But,
Yeah, for sure.
when you're around an environment of people all doing one thing, you feel like the outcast. Like it's hard to go against a lot of people. It's like, oh, well, the masses are doing this, and maybe that's the safe thing to do. Maybe that's the smart thing to do. But then when the masses become people who are living life at the highest level, it's like, okay, yeah, this makes a lot more sense. Like
Yeah,
this is the safe thing to
yeah.
do, the smart thing to do. So, it all goes back to normalizing just the path that you want to walk by surrounding
Mm-hmm.
yourself with these people. So, but another aspect of this too, we've been talking about very like career focused,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess personal development focused, but I want to just touch base on faith and dive into
Yeah,
that because I mean, outside of you taking these leaps in your career and stuff, I think the biggest growth I've seen out of you, dude, I mean, is the walk of faith, is growing
yeah,
closer to God. So talk to us like when you first joined Elevate, like I'll even give a context where Elevate was at the time. You joined
yeah,
in 2022. We were not faith based, faith focused. Like it was all fitness focused,
yep.
some sort of entrepreneurship sprinkled in there as we were all trying to build something. And then 2023, we just hit full stride walking with God and making a huge push for that. Shout out to Bo for bringing that to the table, man. But curious, just when you first joined, like where was your faith at, and then just how's it kind of progressed from there?
Well, I'll first start off with saying this is that every time I bring up my testimony, I have to bring up Elevate.
Mm,
I have to, because that's how much I'll get into why, but it's been one very crucial piece for me in my faith. But like you said, when I first joined Elevate, it was just like a bunch of dudes that would like to have their shirt off and lift heavy weights. Like, I mean, that's like the way I thought it, and like
yeah,
I was like, all right, like this is sick. I was like, I want to lift heavy weights. I want to look jacked. I want to have a business, right? So I'm like, this is awesome. Um, there and like there's like channels on how to like, gain muscle and like everything you need for those things. But then you started growing a lot in your faith and introduced Bible studies, and the Bible study calls, and that was huge. When I first joined, I mean, my faith was, I mean, I believed in God. I believed in God. I had like a moment before Elevate where like it really like locked it in for me that I know God was there, but my relationship wasn't great. I was not praying consistently. I was not living boldly like we like to talk about. I wasn't like truly acting it out. It's just like, yeah, I believe in God. I'll talk to him every now and then. But once you introduce the Bible studies like in Elevate, that's when I feel like my faith really started to like elevate. um, it kind of works out that way. But and the reason that was is because one, I was allowed to just come as I was. Like
Mm.
we're big on that. It's like just come as you are, and like I was just I joined it, and just a bunch of guys that are just trying to dive deeper into the word and get a better understanding. And I never had anything like that. I never had any like group. Like I would go to the church by myself. I'd sit in the very back row, listen to the sermon, leave.
Yeah.
And then now I sit in the very front by myself still sometimes, but I'll bring other people with me, like hands up in the air, praising God.
Amen.
That's how far I've come. It's like I was in the corner scared. Now I'm
Yeah.
like living boldly, like I love God with everything. I'll share my story until the day I die.
I'm into that, bro. I love what you're saying about these Bible studies having just a space to come as you are, because at that time, like, we were all pretty new to faith. I mean, we still are. We're all young guys. I mean, if you're a young guy, you're new to faith. Like, there's people who have been in this game for 40, 50 years following God and studying the Bible.
Yep.
It's like us, we've been at it a year, maybe two. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're brand new. So it's like, especially when you're walking with people who are also new, makes it pretty easy.
Yep.
But what I love about it specifically, and this goes back to what we were talking about before, is not are we just getting into Bible studies with just anyone. We're
Mm-hmm.
getting into Bible studies with people who have a tenacity and an intentionality about how they go about life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that takes it to a whole nother level, because I had experienced Bible studies when I was in high school, just at my local church. Very one-off situation for me growing up, but
Mm-hmm.
I had experienced that, and those people, they didn't want the same things out of life that I wanted. So it was very hard to even like respect and like allow them to pour into my life and speak into my life, if that makes sense. Now, that was a very egotistical approach. Like, I think everyone has some value to provide, and I think God sees us all as equal, loves us all as equal. But I don't know, for me, just sitting in a circle of people that I just wanted so much more out of life than I felt that they did at the time.
Mm-hmm.
My vision and aspirations just felt like they were so much bigger. And I'm not going to act like they're not. I do believe they are, but um, yeah. So it was just very hard to open up and truly want to grow with those people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And that those spaces like in Elevate, it allowed me to have a voice in my faith, which I feel like helped me grow. Because yes, I'm learning a lot from these guys that there are people that have been studying it for a lot longer and have a lot more information on it. But it's also
Yeah.
like an accountability piece. It's like I know Wednesday nights I'm going to be in this group of guys, and I don't want to take what we talked about here and then just put it all aside. It's like no, I know every call on Wednesday we're going to have this. And we're going to talk about God, and I want to be able to actually provide value and help these people. So I need to make
Mm.
sure I'm living out what we're talking about.
Yeah. Best way to learn is to teach.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that recording Raw Faith episodes, man, like, when I'm studying for those, like getting prepared for those, man, I know I'm about to teach on it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I gotta really learn. Like, you gotta take it to a whole nother level and you gotta explain it. But yeah, dude, I'm curious, just for yourself personally,
Mm-hmm.
just your personal walk with Jesus. Like, what has what has kind of the life change been like for you? Like, what have you experienced, as you've grown in your faith in your personal life? Like,
Yeah.
maybe mindset shifts. I don't know. Like, I feel like it's different for everyone, but curious, just what have been some of the biggest things that have happened in your life since growing your faith?
Oof. There's so many. It's hard to like pinpoint a specific moment. Um, I'd say like a lot of things I would try to take on just by myself and
Mm.
feel like I need to take everything by myself. But learning and knowing that I have someone there with me at all times was huge. And living for something bigger than myself was really big. And then I have it written up on my whiteboard. Like living boldly, like that was a huge thing that we talk about in this group, is living boldly. And I didn't know what that meant. I was like, yeah, like do cool things in life, right? No, I mean yes,
Yeah.
but no. Like I explained it. It's like you get a call from God, and then this is the time it takes you to act on that. This gap is how boldly you're living. If you're acting on it immediately, that's how bold you are in your faith. And then if you keep waiting, then you're not as bold. And I feel like that's been the biggest thing for me in faith is, okay, as soon as God's calling me to do something, I need to be bold and act on it.
Yeah.
Like now. Like that's been like one of the biggest changes. And then it's allowed me to do a lot more with my life. Like, dropping out of college, I had that for a while, finally acted on it. And then joining Elevate, I had that thought for a while, but it took me this long to actually act on it. But now it's like that gap between getting called to do something and acting on it is like shortly going down. Like that gym that I joined a part of, I was training at this other place for a whole year, and then I hear about this gym, and I'm like, oh, this is everything I want. And like 1 week, acted on it because I knew God was calling me to do it.
Let's go.
Starting the workout like community thing, I was called to do it like 2 years ago, and then we started talking about living boldly, act on it. It's
Mm.
just like now I know like I can trust God. I've been through enough to like know He's going to help me. He's going to be there for me. That if He's calling me to do something, I need to act on it. Like don't have imposter syndrome. Like yes, that's still there, but it's been huge for me to just try to live boldly and to act on things as soon as God's calling me to do it.
I think that gap you're talking about, I think like that is a great way to measure your faith as well. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
alluding to, like, if your faith is lacking, that time frame is going to take a long time. If your relationship with Jesus is distant, that time frame is going to take a long time because, like Alex is saying, like he's getting these visions from God, these pulls from God. Well, if they are from God, then they have to be with God. They
Mm-hmm.
can't be apart from God. So when we try to act apart from God, it's like, that's scary, man. That's insecure. That's fearful. That's just something we can't do. So what you're saying is walking with God, it has simply just forced you to just take action in your life. I think is the biggest thing you're
Yep.
getting across. Of just like, but not only are you taking action, you're having faith that God's going to fulfill the vision that He's placed on your heart as long as you just keep working, keep taking that bold action. So I love it,
Yep.
dude. In terms of like tangible actions, like not what's kind of happened as a result,
Mm-hmm.
what have kind of been the inputs in your faith that have helped you grow the most? I'm thinking somebody maybe listening to this is like, great, I'm thinking about joining Elevate. I really want to grow in my faith.
Mm-hmm.
Curious, just how did you, Alex, grow in your faith? Like, what inputs did you put in? What inputs do you recommend putting in
Yep.
to get that ball rolling?
I think the one huge first step is just talking to Him like a friend,
Hmm.
and that's what helped me a lot. It would just be like in the shower. It's always in the shower for some reason. uh, well, I'll go into that, but it's like find alone time to just talk with Him. It doesn't have to be out loud. Like it can just be like in your head, like God, I don't know who you are, but I want to try to establish a relationship with you. Like just talk about your life and what's going on, right? Like
Yeah.
just talking to Him like it's a friend. That's what was huge for me, and also know that it's a relationship. Like it's not rule following
Mm.
with God and Jesus, and that's what makes it like we're not following a religion. We have a relationship, and that's like the biggest piece for me that helped me like dive deeper into my faith, and it's like constantly growing because I'm constantly establishing that relationship. It's just like any other relationship. You have to talk. You have to have your one-on-one time. Like so that's like definitely a big piece for me that helped. Another one was getting into the Word. I never read the Bible. I call myself a follower and believer for like the last 4 years, but I didn't dive into it until a
Mm.
year ago, like today. And that's been huge for me because then you're actually understanding God and you're understanding like what he's about, and it just helps you grow in your relationship so much more. And once you start diving deep into God's wisdom, like that starts like taking over your thoughts. It's no longer your thoughts; it's God's wisdom like flowing through you.
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah,
go ahead.
um, so that's so those two things. Honestly, like if I was starting like young in my faith, just talk to him like a friend, and then two, get into the Word. You might not understand, but just read it. Start in the New Testament. Don't be like me and start in the Old Testament. That was dumb. Don't do that. And
Yeah.
then also just like be involved in communities. I mean, Elevate was huge for me, like the Bible studies, and then that led to me joining Bible studies and other groups now, which have been huge for me. Because you have to have your alone time, but like with God, you also have to be like surrounded by people and like express your thoughts too. So those, I feel like those three things have been huge for me, and which has led me to grow my faith a significant amount.
Yeah. Love what you're saying about, building that relationship over kind of that religion. It's like so many people that go in, and religion, it kind of creates judgment. It creates other people with a scorecard of, did you pray? Did you go to church? Did you do this? And it's like, if you didn't, guess what? You're below me because I did. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's what religion really creates, And so that relationship focus, it's like relationships, they don't have to involve a third party. That's me and God, like, so I love what you're saying. Just talking to him like you're talking to a friend, build that relationship. It's you and him. No one else is involved or has to be involved. And people can be, communities can be, they can help accelerate that. But your relationship and view of God should not be dependent on other people, because
Yes.
people are all broken.
Yep.
So dude, I love the points you're getting across, man. These are good stuff for people to really grow in their
Yeah.
faith and get started. Um, I love what you're saying about just getting into the word too, because I think like the rules you had mentioned and touched on, like that was a monumental shift for me in my faith. I can remember where I was standing when that perspective changed
Yep.
of,
Me too.
this is not a book of restrictions and rules. This is a literal book to live the best life possible,
Literally.
aka
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, dude, like I said, I can remember where I was standing. Like that, as in so many people, probably people listening to this are looking to grow, and they've probably read some self development books. Like the Bible's the number one self development book. No one
Mm-hmm.
has walked as perfect as Jesus did. Like he is a God, and so like just take that for what it's worth. When you're next time you go to read Atomic Habits and you're wondering why James Clear isn't changing your life, maybe you should talk to Jesus. Hey, I've read Atomic Habits. I really like it. No,
I
no
do too.
shot at
It's a good
James
book. It's a
Clear.
good book. Shout out James Clear. We're good.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, we're good, James. It's all cool, bro. Yeah. So yeah, I love what you're saying, bro. Those have been monumental for me. So that's why I just wanted to double down on your points and
Yeah.
really make those stick.
And I feel like another thing like that can draw people away from a relationship with Jesus and God is that like, yeah, but I feel like it's gonna limit me. I'm not gonna be able to experience life. I'm like, what is it limiting? Oh no, you can't go get plastered and go have sex with a random woman? Is that really like what living is to you? It's like there's so much more to life than that, and it starts with a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah. And I think what you were saying, how the Bible will fill your thoughts and it no longer becomes your thoughts. Like what you are sacrificing is the way of this world, is what's valuable to this world. Multiple women, going out, partying, like all the inputs that you have been programmed by your entire life to tell you what is valuable. You have to reprogram those. And that's what you're going to be sacrificing, is corrupt thoughts, toxicity in your heart, in a way of living that fills everyone else's cup but yours.
Yep.
So it's the Instagram way of living that you're going to be sacrificing.
Yep.
Let's be honest, and you're going to find a path of fulfillment where you're taking bold action, like Alex. You're feeling strides in life, growing closer to God. So absolutely, that's what you're going to be sacrificing. But I want to segue here, because you were talking about praying and you're talking about in the shower,
Yeah.
and week 5 of Elevated Identity is Presence Week, and that's where we do the 12-hour walk.
Yes,
And
sir.
one big piece of hearing from God, I actually put was when I'm in the shower because I'm alone, no distractions, no inputs. So let's shift focus, talk about elevated identity, and specifically let's just start with the 12-hour walk with that week because sounds like praying in the shower is a spot you found presence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, presence is huge because I know for me it's like I'm not hearing from God. Like, why am I not hearing from Him? And a lot of it is because there's so much going on in life. It's just chaos and social media, people talking to you, everything. So it was really nice to just like have that many hours just in your own thoughts. And like I think a lot of people said the first hour, 2 hours, thoughts rambling like crazy. Like, do I really have to have no input for 12 hours? This is insane, right? But
Yeah.
then eventually at that like 2 hour mark, your thoughts start to slow down and then you just kind of feel at ease. And that's when I felt God's presence. And then there was multiple other things. Like I walked to Starbucks, got some like coffee, and then uh I, I I think I pulled out my Bible for a second, and this guy came over to me and was like, "Thank you for being like so bold in your faith."
Mm.
And I was like, "Okay, God is working during this, right?" I was like, "Okay,
Affirmation.
yeah." I was like, "All right, I'm gonna carry on my mission. Keep walking around. Keep walking around." I think I'm walking around this uh, like shop area, right? Someone else was like out there trying to preach the word, and I was like,
Mm.
"Okay, God is again on me with this walk, right?" And I just had so many different things, and then like tell me that I'm doing one, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and two, all these other like things that I was worried about just went away.
Mm.
Because then you realize, oh, the only thing I can do right now is focus on what's right in front of me, and I need to be right where my feet are, as you like to say. And like all these other distractions don't really matter as much. And I felt at ease with where I was and where God had me placed. And I just felt comfortable.
Yeah. And I think it's what happens when you get alone and get present with God. It's like you're no longer worried about, the stresses of this life. Like, but for anyone who is wondering what we're even talking about, um, Alex went through Elevated Identity, which is a course that I've created. And on week 5, there's something called the 12-hour walk. If you are unfamiliar with it, just literally look up 12-hour walk, the12hourwalk.com. Either of those will get you to where you're trying to get to. Um, but basically, what it is 12 hours, zero inputs. Just outside, walking, sitting, whatever. The key is no inputs, no phone, no music, no podcast, no reading. Obviously, we'll never say no to taking a Bible with you wherever you go. But no books. Of course, the Bible is cool, but so my focus with that week, we're 5 weeks in. We've been building our identity and leading up to it. We want to be able to take the time to get alone, work through our thoughts, and hear what God has in store for our life. And I think there's been no activity more powerful than the 12-hour walk to do that from what I've experienced, leading and coaching guys. So
Mm-hmm.
grateful that you got to walk that, bro, and go through that course. But talk to me about that course as a whole outside of the 12-hour walk. I love the presence you found there.
Yeah.
But was there any other maybe big weeks that stuck out to you, big action items, or anything that's kind of foundationally stuck with you since?
I think it was just that your identity needs to control your actions instead of allowing your feelings to control your actions.
Mm.
Because like now, like I, especially from taking that, like my identity is fully in Christ, and it's kind of helped me develop what that meant. I'm like, yes, I believe in Christ, right? But it's like, no, that's who I am. Like, that's number
Mm.
one. Like, if people ask me who I am, I'm a believer in Christ. That's number one. And then, yeah, I am a business owner. This, right? But a lot of people, they like to put other things above God. Like, all right, who are you? What are you about? Oh, well, I do this job and I do this. Like, no, like, yes, those matter and that's who you are, but like, God is who you are. Like, that needs to be your main identity, and just kind of putting that first in everything that I do with relationships, work, like whatever it may be. Like, that's what is first.
Yeah, and I think, like we talked about earlier, like the man that God placed Alex here to be, like that's the best version of you. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, why would you not lead with that? Why
Yeah.
would you not lead with God? Like lead with the forgiveness that we are undeserving and have been shown. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
nothing more important or more valuable, and there's quite literally nothing we are going to be taking outside of this life on here on earth than that relationship with Jesus. So something to think about there. I think, a lot of people, they get obsessive over money, and I'm all for making a lot of money. I'm all for doing that, but it's like, you're not gonna take it with you, man. Like, why are you holding on to it so tightly? Why are you letting it control your life? Like, white knuckle it and idolizing it, and like, you can't even take it with you. So it's like, live the life that God placed you here to live. Let everything be a resource to do so, and everything else will fall into place seemingly. That doesn't mean you're not going to struggle, but yeah, bro. I love that you're saying your identity controls your actions, not your emotions.
Yep.
Man, the world needs to hear that one. That's something I never even said, but that's a mic drop quote there.
Yeah. And just like now that like through that course and other development with my relationship, it just makes everything so much easier because like you have a guideline, you have a good way to follow, and like looking for your partner, it's like no, like God's first. This relationships with like friends, like you got to make sure that you have that, and you just have a clear path, and it makes everything so much easier, decision making so much easier.
Amen, bro. Let's talk about the decision you made to go to Utah, get on the
Sure.
slopes. So for everybody listening, we just came off our last event. We haven't hosted another one. We got one coming up, but our last event was Salt Lake City, Utah. 10 guys came together. We got out. We hit the slopes. Braun and I did some snowboarding. It was basically our first time
Yep.
together.
Yep.
This guy freaking picked it up quick. Day two, he was rolling. But walk us through kind of your experience, bro. Like, what was the build up kind of like? Because you had been in Elevate for well over a year at this
Yep.
point. You're like, all right, I'm coming to my first event. So what was the build up kind of like to the event? And then we'll just walk through that timeline, your experience at it.
Yeah, man. It was kind of one of those God call things. I'm like, God's calling me to go to this event, so I want to go to it. And especially since there are so many other Elevate events I really wanted to attend, but I couldn't because of me coaching football. Like finally had an opportunity to go into an event, and I was like, all right, I want to go. And I knew that like Andre and some other entrepreneurs were going to be there too, and you and Peyton. And I was like, I really just want to be around these guys and learn from them. And I love snowboarding. Like I thought it was fun. So everything just a part of the event interests me, and I just wanted to go. So I just said, screw it, like I'm gonna do it. Um, and so, but it, like I said in my testimony, like it was one of, if not the best trip that I've been on, because like there's so many different things. Like one, the deepened relationships that I had with all the guys there. Because one, being a part of Elevate, you've talked to guys on calls. We all joined Elevate for the same reason. So it's like we instantly clicked.
Yeah.
Instantly clicked. And then doing hard things together, snowboarding, the run that helps you grow closer to. And then one big thing that I took away from the trip was worship.
Mm.
You're big about like I'm mainly listening to worship music now. And I remember me and like Jake were like, "What are you talking about? Like, how do you do that?"
Yeah.
Like but the more that I was around you guys like listening to it, like I saw the power of worship music and like
Yeah.
listening to it like throughout your day, not just a part of church and then that's it. And then the worship like together, like it made me realize this can be somewhere outside of church. It just kind of opened my eyes to you can do like worship music and hanging out with people of God and praising Him outside of church. I thought that was like only a church thing.
Mm. That's powerful, dude.
Yeah.
That's like a huge thing. Like, that's very big to fathom and build that relationship with God, because I mean, how, what are we in church? Let's just call it 2 hours, if
Mm-hmm.
that, out of our week, unless we go to like small groups or whatever. But
Yeah.
if we just say the service alone, like 2 hours out of how many hours in the week, like, man, that's pretty scary to think that if we are only worshiping, praising, and building fellowship and developing our relationship with God in those 2 hours. It's like, are we really putting him at, the top, like you were just mentioning earlier? So
Mhm.
I know you weren't unintentionally, not doing that. Like, I get it. I
Yeah.
thought the same thing for a long time too. And it's something to me now, like you had said it earlier, like the Bible will replace your thoughts. Like,
Mhm.
same thing for me with worship. Like, worship music will replace my thoughts. So I can't really listen to much of that, rap anymore and
Mhm.
stuff, dude. Like, 'cause it's replacing my thoughts, and I can sense it now. I can feel it.
Yep.
I used to be a big like NF guy, like sad music kind of guy. Like, I loved it, and now I realize it was genuinely just because I was sad. Like, I'm one of the
Mhm.
happiest guys you'll ever meet, but at that time I was just at a low point in life. I was still, overall fairly happy in the day to day, but just like
Mhm.
there's just like this gloom over my life during that season. It
Yep.
felt like, and I realized like listening to music every single day, constantly taking those words in as an input was such a bad thing. But it's like now if we can just look at it on the flip side, boom, I'm listening to worship in the gym, listening to worship. I mean, everywhere I go at this point,
Mhm.
I 99% worship music in my life now, but it's literally just because I want that as my input to feed my thoughts. Like,
Mhm.
that is exclusively why. And it gets me fired up, man.
Yeah. I mean, music is vibrations, and vibrations affect the brain. So it's like you
For
have to make
sure.
sure you have the right vibrations heading to your brain.
Yeah, and I mean, like, life is already hard enough, you know?
Mhm.
Like, why not have some music blasting in your ears that's lifting you up every chance you can?
Yeah. Exactly.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So that's huge, bro, because that was the first event where we had done a worship session. Like, that was
Really.
that was the first one we had done that.
Oh wow.
It was an idea that I had. I was like, we need to get some worship in. I don't
Mhm.
know why I hadn't done it before, but and I mean, it's nothing fancy. Like for everyone listening, we literally just I was like, anybody got a song that they want played, threw
Yep.
together a playlist and tossed it on the TV, turned the TV up as loud as it would go, got the lyrics up and
Yep.
stood in a circle and it took a little bit to warm up, just like it does at church. Like, you need a song or two and then you're
Yep.
into it. It took that, but next thing you know, we're praying, we're hugging, I mean, just worshiping God, like just feeling it out.
I mean,
So
God's presence was during that. I mean, it was we were eating breakfast, and Matt's like, "All right, what worship songs? What worship songs?" Right? And like everyone's like,
yeah,
"Oh, this one, oh that one." We're like, "Okay, we have way too many songs now." like,
like
it
two
was all
hours worth.
yeah, exactly. And then like we're going in the living room. I was like, "Okay, I don't know how this is gonna go. Never been done something like this."
Yeah,
And like Matt said, it kind of took like a song or two, but like everyone had their arms around each other, and you could just feel God's presence. And I felt so comfortable. And I thought that was a big part of the trip for me because like it carried on to like my everyday life too. And I listen to way more worship music now. Um, so that was definitely a big part of it for me.
I think another piece that you had kind of mentioned was just the songs, right? You were like, man, I hadn't been exposed to this. There was this much like good worship music. Like
Yeah, I thought a lot of worship music was trash. I'm not gonna lie.
it's funny because once you realize like there are talented people who have also dedicated their life to Christ in that realm. Like, like look at us, for example. Like, you're a trainer helping people grow in their health. Like, it's like, okay, we have a talented guy in training, Alex, and he's dedicated to, a life of following Christ. So it's like, same thing with musicians. We have a talented guy, in music, and he's dedicated to following Christ. It's like, why would we not think that there's incredible stuff? But I
Yeah.
was I was like you do for a long time. Like I didn't know that there was this whole world. I even got exposed to like this Christian rap scene.
Yep.
I don't
Shout out
I don't know
Hobie.
that I don't know that I really like it though. It's kind of and the reason I say that is because like I'm so used to rap just being like this like money, drugs, women.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's hard to go at that pace and listen to like "We Love You, God" like stuff like that. I'm like
Yeah.
I don't know if this is vibing, man.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that.
Talk to me about that foosball tournament, bro, because you are a savage on the foosball table, man.
Hey, let me get this put. Vinny was a dog. Vinny was the best. Vinny was the best.
For sure.
But
You were
yeah,
right
no. I mean, the event was so much fun between the snowboarding. I think that was another part I liked about it. It was just like how much fun it was. Like we're just hanging out with a bunch of guys that are trying to grow with one another, and a part of that was the foosball in the basement. We had a foosball table. Some of the guys were like, "Oh, I've never really played this before." Like I grew up playing it for my mom, so like I feel like I was pretty decent. And we're just having a
for sure.
blast. I mean, bunch of guys playing foosball, testosterone was flowing. We're screaming, having a good time. So that it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, we had a nice tournament going. I had maybe played once or twice in my life, but Alex comes out. Him and Vinny. They got some strategies going on. They're passing it and stuff. I thought it was crazy. Everyone else was just trying to hit it as hard as
They're
they could.
spinning. They're just spinning it, open and brain.
Yeah, exactly, bro. That was the strat though. But hey, I got better as the trip went on, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, we didn't lose.
No, we didn't lose. That's right.
Yep. I think another big part of the trip, though, like obviously the fun, the worship, was just like deep conversations that, like,
Mm.
sometimes people break off, like, and you have deep conversations. And I remember, like, one of the biggest conversations for me was with Cam, and this is like the night before we left. It's like it's kind of crazy how that happened. Like everyone was in bed, it was just us two up, and he was just talking to me about like business, and he literally provided me every step I needed in order to grow my business. Like gave me a $10,000 business course for free, like for
Savage.
free. Yeah, and I know Cam has helped you, and like he's helped me a bunch, and like that was definitely a big part of it for me was like being able to talk to people like Cam and Andre and you guys, and then, but also like seeing how hard that they worked and grinded. Like they brought their laptops, they were still working like while on the trip. Like okay, this is what it takes to get to that level. So it was really important for me to see that it can kind of just like I don't want to say like break beliefs, but just like see what it takes.
Yeah, definitely a lot. It's a commitment, no doubt. Those guys work harder than anyone that I've ever met in the space. So definitely good guys to look up to.
Yeah.
Um, with that, yeah, bro. I mean, overall the trip, I mean, insane, just a blast. I think
Yeah.
last point we got to touch on is how much protein was consumed on that trip.
Not as much as Grant, but it was huge. I mean, the adult mac, all the 80 pounds of ground beef that we had.
Yeah, what's funny is Andre he sends me an audio message and he's like, "Hey man, he's like, I'm pumped for this event, but he's like, I'm making strides in my health with Default Kings." He's like, "I just want to make sure like I'm gonna hit my protein goals with these meals, or do I need to start thinking about like how I can get my protein in when I'm at this event?" I was laughing. I was like, "Bro, what do you think I eat, man? like, like you're
Yeah.
you're gonna have access to more protein than you've ever had in your life."
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So it was so much fun, dude. Just
Protein
having
and
that.
honey.
And then,
Protein and honey maxing.
oh yeah, we had honey on everything.
I don't think I've ever consumed that much honey.
Oh, I do.
Do
I
you?
do. Oh, dude, I go through like a bottle a week, like a big, like 32 ounces.
What?
Yeah,
She,
absolutely. Between that and maple syrup, man, I eat honey every day.
clearly, if you have a whole
Yeah,
bottle.
100%. I just got a jar of local honey. That's incredible, man.
Oh wow.
Oh, it's so good. But
Mm.
yeah, honey's a cheat code. It's a natural antibacterial. Like, if you're dealing with allergies, like obviously the bees are doing stuff with the plants around you, so you'll be able to get rid of your allergies
Mm-hmm.
via that from the plants and stuff in the springtime. So yeah, I
Yep.
mean between that and bee pollen, you shouldn't have any allergies at all, and it's just great carbs for pre workouts. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I consume it. But let's do some rapid fire in the name of Elevate. Just some questions. Get your quick take. You can go longer. No rush here, but just in terms of Elevate as a whole, curious just what is your favorite aspect of Elevate?
The calls, the
Hmm.
Bible studies for sure.
I think that's might be most popular
Yeah,
answer.
but like another thing is like we have a finance call with your brother, like for free. You can ask him any question, like, and I don't use that enough, and I feel like a lot of guys could use that a lot more. But like, you have free access to someone that has an insane amount of knowledge on finances. Like that is a huge part of it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Those coaching calls are huge, man. I'm on all of them. People wonder why I'm out here growing, bro. I'm on three Elevate Bible studies a week. I'm
Mm-hmm.
on every single coaching call. It's funny because Peyton and I talk about it, and we're like, dude, like, let's keep making Elevate better because it makes us better. Like, it's such a no brainer. Like,
Yeah.
we use the thing more than anyone. So I'm like, I'm on every call, man. Next time somebody asks me how I'm growing my faith, I'm just going to be like all 3 Elevate Bible studies every single week.
Yeah. I feel like I get a new perspective every time I'm on one.
Yeah, dude. Actually, last night, Valentine's Day, there weren't many guys on. There's probably like 5, but most guys were just listening or hopping in and out. So it was literally just me and Daniel talking, basically
Oh,
just
oh
back
boy.
back and forth the whole time. I mean, shout out Daniel,
Shout out
man.
Daniel.
He's passionate about the Lord. He's got some wisdom to share.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's great. In terms of elevate the Discord as a whole, like just curious, what is your favorite channel inside of there?
The wins.
Mm,
Yep.
W's, huh? Why is
Yep.
that?
Just seeing guys win like encourages me to like want to go win. And when you actually do have something go well, you put it in the win chat, and you just have so many guys supporting you. It just like it wants to keep that good momentum going.
Love it, bro. Curious challenges. What challenges have you partaken in,
Hmm.
and what has been your favorite challenge so far?
Did the doing 75 hard right now. This 96-hour fast. The Elevate like 30-day challenge.
You did the 1K push-ups, right?
I don't
In
think
a
so.
day?
And in a no, I didn't know
We
about
did
that.
1,000 push-ups in a day.
Well,
How about? I mean, you did the 12-hour walk, of course.
yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think of more challenges we've done.
That's the cool part about Elevate though, is like the constant challenges.
Yeah.
Because like honestly, I really enjoy those because it kind of like breaks you up from like your everyday life. It's like yeah, you like work this, but it's like oh no, I got this challenge going on too. It kind of just like it's something to look forward to, and it's like an easy way to gain momentum, and it allows you to grow closer with a bunch of guys because you're going through it together.
I think something we're going to try to orchestrate pretty soon is team challenges.
Team challenges.
Yeah, I want to get some teams going, man. Like it's going to be tough, but I'm thinking like we elect team captains. And then you're in charge of. We get however many guys in who want to be a part of it. We elect team captains. Maybe even get on. I don't know, do a draft or something.
A draft.
A draft. Get
The first
teams.
overall pick in the 2025 Elevate Games.
Yeah. Get a draft going, and then we do some sort of challenges like I don't know, push-ups or running, like a bunch of different stuff. And
Yeah.
like if you can show like documented proof that a member of your team did it, like you get points or something. If your whole team did it, you get like bonus points. Like have some leaders, have some accountability there where you're
Yeah.
not just taking action, for yourself. Like you got a team, and then do some sort of incentive for the winning team.
I like it.
Yeah, we got to get some. That just sounds like it's a lot logistically, like the complexity of it, but
Yeah.
sounds like a blast, man. If we could pull it off,
And it'd be like a good way to develop leadership too.
totally.
Yeah, I feel like that's another thing with Elevate. It allows a lot of opportunities to grow as a leader for sure.
You've definitely done that, bro.
Appreciate that.
Challenges, man. Last 2 questions I got for you though, and then we'll just close this thing up. But if you could get lunch with, I'll give you 4 guys out of the community, myself excluded, because I know you'd pick me, but 4 guys excluding me, who would it be?
Definitely got to go P-Dog.
P-Dog. No hard feelings to anybody who doesn't pick. It's hard.
I know. I was like, wow, that's kind of messed up, bro. P-Dog.
P-Dog with the first overall pick.
Yeah.
Austin, second overall pick.
Man, me and Austin, every time we're on a call, it goes for hours. So, yeah.
Mine too. It's an Austin thing.
Yeah, it's just Austin being Austin.
Deep.
Yeah. Is Billy still in Elevate?
He's not, man. He said he was ready to move on with life.
All right, so definitely not that guy. I'm just kidding. I love Billy.
Yeah,
um,
me too. I'd still get lunch with Billy.
yeah, Jake for sure.
All right.
I gotta think carefully about this last one.
Last pick, man. This is tough.
I know.
I thought you were gonna
Love all
say
you
J.
guys,
I
but
thought
I
you were gonna
gotta
say
go.
Jr.
Ooh.
Oh, I
Mm.
just changed his pick.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh.
Who are you gonna say?
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, that'd be a bad move if they're listening.
No, my last overall pick, Money Mitch.
Money Mitch. He's trying to get wealthy at this lunch.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Sick, bro. Before I ask you the last question, though,
Yeah.
just anything closing comments you may have for somebody listening, like anything from you that you've personally used to grow or just build yourself, like somebody listening looking to grow. What maybe advice would you give to them?
If whatever you're trying to do, if you develop a strong foundation in your faith and fitness, you're going to be able to do it.
Hmm.
Like I would start there. Whatever you like, if you're starting on your self development journey, or like say you're older and you're trying to restart your life, you're young, trying to figure it out, like start with building a strong foundation, faith and fitness. And you're not going to have it all figured out, but just figure it out as you go. Don't try to wait and figure it out and then act on it. Just act on it and figure it out as you go.
Amen, bro. I think Ed Milet says that so often. He says he found the most successful people have a very low to action threshold. They just take action so fast without having stuff figured out. So, love that advice. It's in alignment with one of the GOATs in Ed. But last question I got for you, bro. Somebody listening to this is considering joining Elevate. Maybe they're on the fence. Maybe they're lacking community. Maybe they're like, oh, man, that price looks high. I don't know. Like, what would your advice to them be?
Join. like don't overthink it. Just join. Like if you're even considering it, it means you should be joining. Because like the amount that you get from it, I mean the coaching calls, you're gonna talk to someone that knows everything you need to know about finances, the health calls, addiction, like whatever you might need is a part of this community, and you have so many guys that are gonna support you through your entire journey. That like if you're thinking of ROI, you're going to make more money by being a part of this. Like, I went from a freshman in college that had no faith to now I'm a business owner with a whole bunch of faith, and I have a bunch of great relationships and people I can hang out with and talk with whenever I want.
150 members, bro.
Wow.
It's crazy to think about, but the thing is growing. So if you're considering adding to that number and connecting with Braun, connecting with myself, building that relationship, getting into Bible studies, then join the freaking community. And it's something too, like we do have a 30-day money back guarantee to where if you decide to cancel in the first 30 days, we literally just send you your money back. So you basically get a 30-day free trial.
And like, I'm not saying this just to make Matt happy. Like, it genuinely was one of the best decisions I ever made. Like, genuinely, my relationship with God would not be where it's at. I would not have a business right now. Like, I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for this Elevate community. And it can definitely have that same change in your life as well.
Appreciate that it's on, bro. Appreciate you just taking the time out of your busy schedule to jump on here and give back, man. And appreciate anyone listening to this. Definitely join the team and let's get you connected with Alex, get you connected with myself, and let's start building, man.
Yes, sir.
Peace and love.